moderate to occasionally heavy rains will continue. Now, there is the possibility for more flooding overnight and also increasing wind. So it's a 1-2 punch of moderate to heavy rains, and we will have the chance to see some high water issues, some flooding, but also the second part of that 1-2 punch is the higher winds associated with Helene. Now, again, it is going to be a very impactful storm for a wide area. It's a very large storm impacting much of the southeast, including here in East Tennessee. So our effects are going to be highest, particularly from some of those strong winds and the heaviest rainfall in the mountains overnight. And then some of the heaviest rains are going to be transitioning toward the plateau tomorrow as they taper off here in the valley and other areas. But those winds are still going to be strong. They could lead to some downed trees and power outages. So that's the setup. Again, wet conditions in Market Square. We take you live to Douglas Lake. A little bit of a let up right now, but some sideways rain. The wind's probably shifting around a little bit. Was coming down pretty good earlier. Not many folks fishing tonight out on Douglas Lake. By the way, Douglas Lake in one day today came up 1.5 feet. TVA says after this rain event moves through, they're expecting 16 feet rise and increase in the water level on Douglas Lake. 16 feet. That's how much rain is going to be kind of going into Douglas Lake, and then they'll manage it out of the Douglas Lake thereafter. That's pretty incredible. Again, it's really low and has been because we're in such a drought. It's been hot and dry, but all of a sudden, that's a lot of water that's going to be feeding in. Just an interesting tidbit there. 68 right now. Rain is falling. Winds are northeast at 10. Let's take you down to North Florida. This is the Big Bend region. At whenever the center of a tropical system, a hurricane, crosses over land, that is the technical definition for when it makes landfall. It's almost there. Now, the front eye wall, the northern and eastern quadrant, this front eye wall of the Helene right now has already moved over land, but the center not quite there yet. So within the next probably 15, 20 minutes or so, roughly, soon, at least within the next 30 minutes or less, looks like we'll have a landfalling hurricane. And looks like right now it's just to the southwest of Perry, Florida. But again, the National Hurricane Center will give those exact details for location whenever that makes landfall. Look at the rain, first of all the way up from Georgia into East Tennessee. Look at, and all the way up to Kentucky. Again, you've got these outer bands. Look at this, from the Atlantic Ocean feeding up into Charleston, Myrtle Beach. And the greatest risk for severe weather and tornadoes is in these outer bands for the Carolinas and for South Carolina and North Carolina. Very low end chance for far upper East Tennessee. Otherwise, not expecting severe storms. We're expecting heavy rain and some high winds with this system. So here's what we're looking at. Again, there's the flood warning until 5 a.m. for the eastern half of our region. And as far as what we're seeing overnight, again, our Futurecast model does a pretty good job. Once we get into early Friday morning, we start to see what we call rain shadow. Winds are increasing with Helene, but those winds sinking off the mountains in East Tennessee will cause the rain to start to diminish somewhat. And then there's a little bit of a void. This is actually the center of Helene moving over our region with some scatter showers wrapping around. But the rain and then the wind will start to relax by Friday night into Saturday. That's when we'll see slowly improving conditions. But those winds ramping up tomorrow morning, again, then that center of circulation moves over us. More winds kick back up around noontime, early afternoon. And then Friday night into Saturday, again, the winds will slowly begin to relax. So there's the latest with Helene, a Category 4 hurricane that will continue to track up through Georgia and East Tennessee as a remnant low, bringing heavy rain tonight and high winds tomorrow before it gradually shifts off to our west and weakens for our area and brings more rain to Memphis and Nashville. So we'll finally dry out as we say hello to October next week. That does it for your weather update. Let's get you right back to your headlines.